Welcome to Look Around the Confederation. I'm one of your hosts of the evening, Moose. And before we get started, please remember the views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are not necessarily the views and opinions of the SCV, it's GEC, nor divisions, brigade camps, or any other subsidiaries. How is everybody doing in Dixieland tonight? We have a great show for you planned. As you can see, to my right is the Florida man, our other host for the evening, Sean McFall. Always good to have him in the booth with me. And, of course, we have a special guest tonight. We have Louisiana Division Commander Brian McClure, and he will be talking about, of course, an update on Louisiana Division. For those who don't know, we've kind of started a format to look around the Confederation where first week it's going to be Commander's Comments, second week it's Army of Tennessee, third week it's Army of Trans-Mississippi, and fourth week it's the Army of Northern Virginia. And sometimes the Army puts a spotlight on a division, and this spotlight is going to be the Army of Trans-Mississippi. I went blank there for a second. The Army of Trans-Mississippi's Louisiana Division. We got a good bit of news and a great guest who has a lot of news for y'all as well. So we're going to try to hit it very quickly. How is everyone doing? I think I see Victor Smith in the chat. We got some news from him. Alan Lawrence, Keith, Frank, Kyle Thompson, the division commander out of Kentucky, Jude of Georgia. Me and Jude had a very long conversation with Cousin Vinny the other day, and it was a very interesting conversation. Bless Vinny's heart.
If it's with Cousin Vinny, I'm sure it was interesting.
It was very interesting. Don't really know how to put all that into words. All right, we're going to see if I can get to my notes real quick. And we're going to start off in Sean's area of the woods. In the Florida Division, we have, let's see here, on October 7th at Pinewood Cemetery at 11 a.m. at Daytona Beach, Florida, the Private William Riley Milton Camp 741 will be having a footstone dedication for its namesake. The grandson of Private William Riley Milton will be in attendance as well as other family members. We're asking others wishing to attend to contact Camp Commander Victor Smith at his email scrolling across the bottom of the screen. That event is coming up. I do expect pictures from that, Victor. I will be deeply hurt if you don't send me pictures. All right. Next up, let's see here. There it is. Ooh, there it is. All right, we have a tombstone fundraiser. So this is from the Lieutenant Robert J. Tipton Camp, 2083, out of Tennessee. They are trying to get a tombstone for Landon Carter Hayes, who was a Tennessee politician and Confederate senator during the war between the states. He was born and raised in Carter County and inherited the Hipton Hayes estate when he got married. During the war, he moved to Richmond, Virginia as a Confederate senator. And during and after the war, Senator Hayes lost his property and moved to Memphis, Tennessee, where he lived the rest of his life. He was buried in Memphis, but then later moved to Jackson, Tennessee, where he no longer has a headstone. It is our goal to raise funds and have a headstone erected for him. And I believe, let me make sure I have it in the chat. Here is the GoFundMe for that. They will probably, hopefully, come on soon and give an update on that. I haven't talked to them in a hot second, but I bet they're going to have something for us soon, and I hope the project is going well. I know Commander-in-Chief Jason Boshier supported the project, and I hope you all can too. All right. We move down. This one's kind of biased, but it's because it's my camp, so... The Samuel H. Poe Camp number 255 out of Mississippi have these 30th anniversary challenge coins made in honor of course, our 30th anniversary since recharting in 93. They're $10 each, and you can contact our camp commander, historian-in-chief as well, Forrest S. Dawes, on his Facebook. Just type in Forrest S. Dawes, historian-in-chief, and it'll pop up. And you can also contact our adjutant. His name is Harrison Dawes. He is. You can contact him at on his Facebook page as well if you would like a challenge coin at Harrison 5th Brigade Councilman SCV. Both of us are on Facebook, me and my father, and you can contact us about getting one of these limited edition challenge coins. He's also Harrison Dawes also for some reason goes by Moose. I really haven't figured that out. I have to ask him that at our next camp meeting. I knew you'd get a kick out of that. Next bit of news is the Stephen D. Lee Institute, February 16th through the 17th in Columbia, Tennessee. This year's theme is Who Are We as a People and an Organization? The Friday night reception will be held at the National Confederate Museum at Elm Springs. Here are some of the presenters. You have Dan Dorwill. I'm sorry, so sorry, Mr. Dan. Dan Dorrill, Ben Stool, Forrest S. Dawes again, Chris Sullivan, Frank Powell, our Chief of Heritage Operations, Mr. Ron Kennedy, and the Master of Ceremony, past Commander-in-Chief, the Lone Ranger, Chuck McMichael himself. So make plans for that, Stephen D. Lee Institute. Let's see here. I do have their website I forgot to put up. Let me put that up for everyone. 1 second. Oop, that's not it. There it is. Boom. Okay, it's in the chat. Of course, Stephen D. Lee Institute is a great learning experience. I have a great time every time I go. I got to go to the one at Beauvoir a couple years back. I wasn't able to go to the one last year, but I hope to go to this one. But you will be able to have a great time, learn a lot, and help us defend the cause even more. Let's see here. Jack DuPont is in the chat. Good to see you, Jack. Let's see, hi from Maryland. We have Maryland in the chat. Good to see y'all.
Hey, Kim. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
We have a reenactment on October 14th through the 15th at Cedar Bluff, Alabama. The reenactment will be held on the actual surrender site. At 2 p.m., the reenactment will start at 7 p.m. to 7 p.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. There will be a ball. And on Sunday, you will have church at 10 a.m. And then at 2 p.m., there will be another reenactment battle. Settlers and food trucks will be on site. Porta potties and water supplies will also be available on sites. For questions, you can go contact them on their Hotmail email. And, of course, please go like them on Facebook. I love reenactments. Good to see that y'all are having a good time over there. All right. We have a turkey shoot fundraiser. Oop, that's not the one I wanted to put up. This happens to me way more than I'd like to admit. But the Captain David Williams / Holly Settlers Volunteers Camp 2267 out of North Carolina will be having their 4th annual turkey shoot on November 16th and December 16th. It is a good old family fun and a Southern holiday tradition. It will be from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And, of course, you can see the directions on it as well. And, again, with all these events, we hope that you go and support them, especially if you're in the area. It's very important to support these events from whatever division, whatever army, and make sure you can if you travel, make sure you get to that event.
Well, Moose is taking a coffee break. I got some great news, guys. Thank you for the reminder, Keith. This Saturday, the Florida Division will be having a charter celebration for our newest camp, the CSS Spray. It will be at Jacksonville at the flag site. So if you are looking for something to do, want to celebrate a new camp, come down to Jacksonville at the flag site this Saturday.
Well, always good to see a new camp chartered. That is a great thing. So I hope y'all go support that great camp event. Kyle said he sent me an email. So I'm guessing we're going to have some news from your neck of the woods very soon. Let's see here. Going down my list here. There will be, that's this weekend. How about that?
Mhm.
The 160th anniversary Battle of Chickamauga will be September 22nd through the 24th in Lafayette, Georgia. Now, I'm from Mississippi, so we say Lafayette very differently than the rest of the South. That was brought to my attention a while back, so maybe mispronounced it, maybe not. Let's hope for the best. There'll be a school program Friday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Public hours start on Saturday and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The battle Saturday and Sunday will be at 2 p.m. The reenacting fee is $20. And beginning on September 1st, which we have definitely passed, will be $35. For more updates or information, you can go to Chickamauga160 at .com and Facebook, of course, the 160th Chickamauga reenactment. I know a good couple people going to that, so I hope you all have a phenomenal time.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Moose. Thanks, Keith.
Beat you to the punch. All right. Now we have a big event coming out of the Alabama division. The first annual Yellow Hammer Jammer will be September 30th, very soon, on at 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at Confederate Memorial Park in Mulberry, Alabama. Musical performance will be by Mutt Cooper, Allie Knight, Brendan Young, and Unreconstructed. Past Commander-in-Chief Chuck McMichael will be our keynote speaker. Food and drinks are available. Games for kids and adults. Door prizes, historical presentations, and other activities. Bring your ice cream freezers, pop-up tents, and lawn chairs. It's going to be a great day in Dixieland. Hot dog eating contest for adults and kids, and no administration fee to enter the park. It will be a good day of family fun. All right. Now, here's something Mr. Sean wanted to talk about, so I'm going to throw it up real quick.
Well, guys and girls, if you want to know what this event is, the Florida Confederate Heroes Headstone Dedication Memorial Service is Saturday, October 14th at Homeland Cemetery. It is sponsored by the Jubal Early Camp 556 and the Mary Molly Bell OCR chapter number 20. Now, with this event, what we're doing in the Southwest region of Florida, this is for all of our hard work between the Southwest region, mechanized cavalry, and various members from other camps. Dedication because we put in within the last 2 years 125 headstones for our fallen heroes.
Well, that does sound like an awesome event, Mr. Sean.
Oh yeah, we got our artillery, rifle squad, and color guard. If you have a rifle, you have a uniform, come join us. If you want to bring your artillery piece, bring it. We already got one for sure. Victor is Terry bringing his. You can get a hold of me or our Southwest Division Lieutenant Commander David King if you need if you have more questions.
Well, again, if you can make these events, please try to attend and make them. Let's see here. Next bit of news would be the General Forest 200 Society. Of course, this was done, I can't believe it, a couple years back now. Mm-hmm. But this was made in honor of the 200th birthday celebration of General Forest. And, of course, it went along with the reinterment of General Forest. And it's just a cool thing to be a part of. It's, of course, it goes to help his boyhood home also in Tennessee. And it's just a great thing. A couple people beat me to the punch. I am currently saving up to be a part of the society as we speak. So hopefully soon, next time I bring this up, I will be able to say that I'm also a member of the General Nathan Bedford Forrest 200 Society.
Cool.
Next bit of news, again, a little bias that comes in through my neck of the woods, is the 37th annual Fall Muster held at beautiful Beauvoir. If you don't know what Beauvoir is, Beauvoir was the home are the last home of Confederate President Jefferson Davis, our only president. And Beauvoir is owned and operated by the Beauvoir Corporation, whose members also make up the Mississippi Division of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. It will be like stepping back in time to experience life in the 1860s. War between the states reenactment battles daily, camp life, living historians, first-person presentations, period music by unreconstructed man, small muster, and other kids' activities. We also will have the traveling Hunley exhibit, period dance, several vendors, food, snacks, and a ladies' tea. It is going to be fun for the whole entire family. It's a total weekend of living history. It will be again on October 21st to the 22nd. For more information, you can go to www.visitbeauvoir.org and make sure you come check us out. This is the biggest fundraising event for the Beauvoir household that we have all year here in Mississippi, so we'd really appreciate it if you can make plans and come on down to Beauvoir. Of course, we talked about that this Monday, so go check that episode out. Ooh, all right. Next reenactment we have up is in the Battle of Skyrim Creek in Crossville, Alabama. It will be November 3rd through the 5th. Hosted by the Captain John Rayburn, SCV Camp 452, and the 1st Alabama Division of Reenactors. Infantry, mounted, and dismounted cavalry and artillery are welcome. You'll have period settlers, non-period settlers, food and entertainment, ladies' tea, and much, much more. The reenacting registration fee is $5, $10 with a meal. For more information, you can contact SCV Camp 452's Camp Commander, Mr. Robbie Mays, at his phone number below. And the reenacting contact is Mr. Jeremy Booth at his contact information below. Whew. All right. We are almost done with the news, and we'll bring our phenomenal guest on. Let's see here. Next bit of news comes out of the Alabama division and is the Alabama Education Conference. They did this a couple years back. I haven't been able to attend one yet. But it is a great event. It is like a Stephen D. Lee Institute. Again, it's very educational. You have some great speakers as listed here, and their information, of course, listed here. When I tell you it is a phenomenal event, it is a phenomenal event. I've always heard great things, hence why I was a little jealous that I haven't been able to make it to one yet. But these type of things, these educational conferences, the Stephen D. Lee Institute, is giving you the ammunition to fight this war we're in. So it's very important that you try to attend if you can. Let's see here. Let me get the rest of the information up. It will be on March 16th in 2024. Whew. Seems like it's so far away, but it's only a couple months away. Mm-hmm. Next bit of news is the Army of Tennessee Workshop, May 4th through the 24th. It will be from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. At Elm Springs in Columbia, Tennessee. There's only 65 spots available to this workshop, so make sure you register early to get your spot. Registration fee is $15, which includes lunch. Pre-register by May 15th for lunch. After May 15th, registration fee will be $20. No guaranteed lunch included, though. All divisions are welcome to attend. Speakers, of course, include Membership Coordinator Eric Prevetti for Commander and Adjutant Training. Army of Tennessee Councilman Carl Jones will be speaking on Building a Better Camp. Army of Tennessee Commander will be talking about community involvement and other subjects. So make sure you sign up for it now. And, of course, you can contact Army of Tennessee Commander Jimmy Hill for more information. Now we're going to go back to where it all started. We're going to end our news in the Florida Division with Victor's Camp. The Private William Riley Milton Camp 741 had their meeting on September 12th. And they had a lovely line of guests. So let me pull up this first picture here. As you can see, this is Commander-in-Chief Jason Boshears and Miss Linda Boshears, then Miss Linda Hudson, and Inspector-in-Chief Roy Hudson. Not in picture, though, is the Florida Division First Commander, Dale.
That's Daryl. Daryl Rattray.
Ah, thank you. Glad I had a Florida man in here to tap out to. Send that stuff your way. They also were able to give Commander-in-Chief Jason Boshears the official Camp 741 T-shirt, and something I like to see, Commander Boshears presented to the members of the Camp 741 a certificate of appreciation and recognition of them being an active camp, constant and an active. Ooh, I'll get it out eventually. For being an active, constant camp for almost 29 years, the camp established December 7th, 1994. So we want to congratulate the Private William Riley Milton Camp 741. Now,
and Moose
hit. Yeah. At least I didn't mispronounce too much tonight. That's always an up for me at this point. All right, we're going to hit a quick Pop-Tart break. I'm going to be back with our guest of honor tonight. And let's see if I can get everything ready as quick as I can. Here it is. Sometimes it is just fun to produce the show because, especially when you're also one of the hosts, it gets fun. All right, so tonight's Pop-Tart break is sponsored by Jefferson Davis, High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government. Of course, the Kennedy Twins' newest book, Jefferson Davis, High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government, is about how Jefferson Davis was a leader in the high road to emancipation. He looked for a day in which slaves would be prepared to live and participate in society. He did more, though, than advocate for this high road to emancipation. He practiced his beliefs in the ultimate emancipation of Southern slaves. And many of his former slaves left for prosperity and the testimony about their former master who prepared them to be self-sustaining members of society. You can get the Kennedy Twins' most recent book, Jefferson Davis, High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government, at www.kennedytwins.com and most online bookstores, including www.scv.org and www.visitbeauvoir.org. I want to thank the Kennedy Twins again for sponsoring tonight's Pop-Tart break. And when we get back, we will have our guest of honor on, Louisiana Division Commander Brian McClure. Let's see here, and here we go.
When my mother was in college, she danced with Confederate veterans. To me, it wasn't that far away. My father knew this. My mother knew this. Almost 50 years ago, I joined the Sons of Confederate Veterans. In those days, we weren't concerned about saving monuments or any of those things. That wasn't necessary. In fact, none of us had any remote idea that it would ever come up. We can't just sit there and react. We have to be proactive. Or, as Robert E. Lee said, the best way to disrupt your enemy's plans is to strike first. Everyone should do all in his power to collect and disseminate the truth, in the hope that it may find a place in history and descend to posterity. History is not the relation of campaigns and battles and generals or other individuals, but that which shows the principles for which the South contended and which justified her struggle for those principles. If you're looking for some place to be where you think you're going to accomplish something to save our history, go to the Sons of Confederate Veterans. I'm Thomas Lee Jesse. I'm a descendant of Private Daughtery Gilmer, a Confederate veteran.
Whew, chills every time. Again, we want to thank the Kennedy Twins' most recent book, Jefferson Davis, High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government, for sponsoring tonight's Pop-Tart break. Again, they are available at www.kennedytwins.com and most online bookstores, including www.visitbeauvoir.org and www.scv.org. And now it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for our guest of honor. You can see the Louisiana Division SCV website scrolling on the bottom of the screen. So I'm guessing you kind of figured out at this point what we're talking about. I hope so. I hope I made that clear. But I want to welcome on and let him take over the show, Louisiana Division Commander Brian McClure.
Well, thank you so much for having me tonight. I appreciate it. Got some things I want to talk about from the Louisiana Division. I think I'm going to start with kind of what hit me earlier this week. It came out on Tuesday morning. I have a habit to always kind of look at the news headlines and see what's going on, and sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes most times it's a bad thing because it kind of sets the mood for the rest of the day. And I came across an article that was on Fox News, and I think you've got a picture of that, the headline. New York City to consider removing statues of George Washington, create reparations task force, and budget cuts. And basically what this is about is that they're looking to, I got the notes on this, that they are, this would affect things. Criteria would include figures like First President George Washington, the Dutch governor. I'm not even going to slaughter this guy's last name because I don't know how to pronounce it, but Christopher Columbus and a lot of other statues throughout the city. And this got me thinking about us as SCV, okay? If anyone reads the preamble of the SCV Constitution, it basically talks about, we're here about Southern history all the way from the founding of Jamestown until the modern era, okay? Because, and I don't want to quote the whole thing, but it's about to encourage and recording and teaching with impartiality of all Southern history and achievement from Jamestown to this present era, okay? And then it goes on a little bit more. But basically, that's about the fact that, our ancestors that decided to stand up against a tyrannical government, they were influenced by their ancestors, passed down those principles and those values. Okay. So this what goes along with it. Their deep belief in the Constitution and what this country was founded on. And now you have people out there wanting to tear down the very fabric of what this country was built. Okay. So with this, it kind of, fired me up a little bit. And I just sent out a thing. I just wrote it kind of on the cuff and put it out to the Louisiana Division. And I'm just going to share little pieces of it our fight is not only about the war between the states, but the defense of our American legacy and American birthright. We are the vanguard on the front lines, working diligently to save the principles of the founding of this nation. And also remember, you are part of this vanguard. We must remain faithful to the cause. We must stand up even if we stand alone. We must grasp every opportunity to promote the true history of this great nation. We must uphold the embodiment of the Constitution, and we must always remain vigilant. This is why it's so important that every one of our camps and members must seize every opportunity to reach out and network with their communities. This is why we must always be on the march, creating events and other opportunities for members to stand proudly in the defense of our Southern homeland. And let us never forget, we are the thin gray line, okay? We are the one in the trenches, okay? There's nobody behind us. There's not like, oh, well, we got these reserves back here. No, it is us, okay? And with that, I've said this 1,000,000 times in this division since being division commander, and I will say it 1,000,000 times again. If the SCV falls, so goes the South. And if the South goes, so does this nation, okay? Remember, the South, this is where it is. And I wrote kind of at the end of it, I said, if this country had a soul, it would live in the South, okay? The South embodies everything that was great about this country. Our deep-seated, passion about what we believe, and I think there's a little Scotch-Irish in us, all of us, I think a little bit too. But the fact is, we have a deep belief in God and country, that you won't find in any other place in the United States. And this was at stake. And I've told people, it's really not about the monuments and the statues and the graves. These are all things they want to take away. So they remove anything you can identify with. They remove everything that you have built yourself around. They want to destroy everything you can latch onto. They want to basically make everybody else like, I don't know, California. And that's a sad thing. But this is why we exist. We're on the front lines doing this. And it's not just about the Confederacy anymore. It's about every single part of American history. is being torn down and thrown away. And we have got to get people motivated, and we got to get them off the rear ends. I know we were talking about that earlier for the show, but you can get on Facebook all day and you can talk to your heart's content, but you haven't changed anything. It's about getting out here, reaching out to your politicians, knowing, hey, there's an SCV here. We have voters, and, writing to these Congress people, calling these Congress people. I mean, that's what everybody should be out there doing. You should be out there networking with your communities, okay? Because it starts on the grassroots level. I mean, you need to start working in your towns, networking with your chamber of commerce, your police juries, your board of supervisors. You need to let them know you. You need to start working as not only, what we do, like promoting our heritage, but show people that you have a vested interest in the community, that you're willing to help out on different levels, whether it's canned food drives, blood drives, toy drives. Let them say, hey, we're the same as you. We got children that go to your church. We go to church with you over here. Kids go to school over here with your kids. We're not these weirdos and these things that people try to stereotypes that the media tries to put up, And here's the thing. Just like Jefferson Davis said, all we want to do is be left alone. We just want to do our thing. Just leave us alone, But somebody's always sticking their finger in the pie, I guess you say, so to speak. It's just one of those things. But it kind of fired me up when I read that, because I mean, it's just when's it going to end? And it's going to end when good men and good women, okay, can't forget the ladies, okay, going out here and doing what we do and staying on top of it every single weekend, doing something to promote our history. And so I'm just going to leave that with that, because I could go on with that all night, just talking about, what we should be doing that way. But it's really, really important that, we talk about sacrifice, okay? And we talk about the sacrifice our ancestors did, okay? Well, they sacrificed, they left their homes, they left their families. They didn't know they were coming back, okay? So sacrifice, if all we ask is like, on this one weekend, can you not do your yard work? Okay. Can you not do this? Is that big of a sacrifice compared to what your ancestors did? I mean, it's about time people realize the life and the soul of this nation is on the line, and it's going to take men and women and the next generation coming up to stand vigil and to stand there like that thin gray line I talked about earlier. So I'll just leave that with that.
Wow.
What?
Said wow.
Well, I get fired up sometimes.
You get fired up.
I think it's because I was originally born in Mississippi, and I lived in Mississippi most of my life until I came to Louisiana about 12 years ago. And I was brought up Southern Baptist. And I wasn't brought up with this cotton candy sort of Christian stuff that a lot of people spout today. I grew up on hellfire and brimstone, okay? I grew up when, the pastor thought everybody was sleeping. So he reached in his pocket when nobody was looking and grabbed a handful of change and slung it across the floor and said, and he sold Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. Everybody wakes up. Whoa, I mean, it was some boot stomping, get your act together sort of service. And I think at some point, some of our members and some of our people out here in the South especially need to hear something like that again. Fire them up, light a fire under them. I know people talk about that all the time, but they need that fire lit up on them to realize that everything that's going on will affect you eventually. It will come and affect you eventually, and we see it affecting our children and everything else. And it's we need to get back to where we need to be. If there was a wall to be built, I'd put a wall between Texas and California. No, if they want to have it, all that, they can do whatever they want to over there. That's a great thing about states' rights. California wants to do it, do whatever you want to. New York want to do it, just leave us alone. Let us do what we do. Okay. I guess the next thing I'm going to start talking about is some of the past events that we've had in Louisiana. The first thing I've got listed here is the rededication of the monument for the 46th United Confederate Veterans Reunion. It was relocated by the Lieutenant General Richard Taylor Camp, 1308 in Shreveport. That's a picture of it right there. We got, and Moose, you kind of know a little bit about this because you were there at the unveiling of the time capsule. We pulled out the battle flag.
Oh, yes, sir. It was an awesome day.
So this is the rededication, and that's some of the reenactors that did some of the firing. You can see the new monument is in the little fence there in front of the larger monument. If you go to the next slide, you'll see there's past CIC Chuck McMichael leading the reenactors around to do the firing and everything. And then on the next one, next slide, there's a little bit closer view of it. And the UDC and SCV were both out there along with the Mechanized Cavalry, OCR, and was all part of this celebration. So it was a really good event to see it. And also what was interesting was Chuck McMichael pointed out that some of the people who passed away and buried in Greenwood Cemetery near that monument actually probably attended that monument in I think it was, I don't remember exact year, but that at that UCV reunion. So that was kind of interesting. So and moving next, when we go back to your state there, Moose, about Mississippi. And this is just a little picture from the 160th Vicksburg anniversary. And that's a bunch of different reenactors. A lot of Louisiana folks came out to support. And it was also the Courthouse Museum 75th anniversary. And the reason why I add this in is because, a lot of Louisiana soldiers fought in Vicksburg during the campaign. Also, the fact that, we feel like this, that if another division needs help, we're there to help. We drive over to Texas, Arkansas, or Mississippi. And we just figure that's what we do. They're not worried about borders of divisions. If people need help, need members over to do anything, we'll be there. And also like to make a note, if you go to Vicksburg National Park, drive through the park, look at the monuments, but don't go in that museum. Okay. Do not go in that museum. Go to the Courthouse Museum. That is the true museum of Vicksburg. That museum is awesome. Okay. That museum's got kind of artifacts you wouldn't believe. And they tell a true story of what happened in Vicksburg compared to that rhetoric they have posted in Vicksburg National Cemetery. National Park. I've watched it slowly degrade over several years where they've gotten more woke and more woke. You go in now, it's just got propaganda, posted big signs everywhere about what the war is about, and it's all the left-wing narrative. Okay. So go, if you have a chance, you're in Vicksburg, check out the Courthouse Museum. It is an awesome little museum. It really is. And, it was there during the battle. The upstairs was used as a hospital. It's a really fantastic place. The next event that we had was June for St. Jude. That was done by the Northwest Brigade. I just got one little shot of this. This was some reenactors. During this day, this is about, once again, networking with your community. The Northwest Brigade, and headed up by the Colonel Samuel Russell camp out of Natchitoches, put on this event where all the proceeds went to St. Jude. So we got together and we got a few reenactors. We had some skirmishes. This was at Fort Randolph in Pineville, Louisiana. And we had that, and they had some other stuff like the cornhole tournaments and things like that. And they raised close to $900 having this event that day. So that's once again, showing people we're not what you think we are. We're here, part of that community. And so that was a really good event to network with an organization like St. Jude. Now, the next pictures, we had a celebration here recently of the 125th anniversary of the UDC, United Daughters of Confederacy Shreveport chapter. And got a few pictures of that, I think. That's their charter. And then the next picture that's all the SCV members that came in to help celebrate. was a nice little event. I just want to give them a nod because the UDC was very instrumental in their fight with City of Shreveport to bring with a I'm probably not pronouncing this right. Is that Mississippi in me? Cato, however you say it. Okay, I'll get fussed at when I get off here. But Cato Monument, and as you were at the rededication at Pleasant Hill, so I think we came out really well with this, and I have to give props not only to UDC but also the Taylor Camp out of Shreveport for all the work that they did working with the UDC to make that happen. So, and I'm glad to see it in a very beautiful place overlooking the original Pleasant Hill battlefield. Move to the next one was the Texarkana Symposium, the ATM workshop that was done on August 23rd. This is all the people in Louisiana that are part of it. I'm sure y'all see some familiar faces here, like there's I'm not going to name them all, but I'm sure you see a few of them there. Some of our past commander-in-chiefs, Paul Gremlin, Chuck McMichael. You see Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief Walter Kennedy and some other people there. And so an ATM Commander J.C. Hanna. Really nice, informative. I think the guest speakers there, and I hope I'm not leaving anybody out, was, of course, Jason Boshier, our Commander-in-Chief, Eric Pravetti, and the Kennedy twins. And it was very informative, talking about especially bringing up points like the Confederate Legion. I mean, a lot of people still out there don't realize how great a toolbox that the Confederate Legion is for members and camps and divisions. I mean, and armies. I mean, there's so much there. Just got to take the time to look at it and use it. I mean, here in Louisiana, we've been doing a lot of gun shows, and with the gun shows, we've been handing out the Confederate Legions there, passing around. And one of the ones, I wish I made a copy of that. It's basically got one about, weapons and guns and talking about Second Amendment. So it's not, when you first read it, it's just not in your face about the Confederacy. It kind of hooks you up and pulls you in. When you get to the back of it, you start seeing more of the connections with the Confederacy and all. But it's really good. We've had a lot of good response to that, and had people actually showing up at camp meetings from these gun shows. So that's always a big plus. So the next one I'm going to bring up is we have every year in the fall, we have what we call Fall Assembly, and basically it's a workshop. We had one on September the 16th in Pineville. It was kind of center of state for us. And as you can see, there's past CIC Paul Gremlin and all of us, and there's more people all around the corner. And what we kind of talk about using the workshop, we talked about things like retention, camp and brigade, officer duties, classes, which I think is really important because so many people, they get into a position, but sometimes not fully aware of everything they need to be doing, or things like, or they're just lost. So this was good. We also had an adjutant Q&A class, which was really good as well. So, there's the division adjutant, camp commanders can now talk to him and ask questions and things like that. And probably one of the good ones was presented by Ronald Kennedy, who's chief of heritage operations. He did a thing on contacting and reaching out to legislators. Okay. And we know what's been going on recently with Arlington. And the point with this was like, anybody that was confused, this one-click stuff and all this, we kind of laid it out simple for them. We had stuff blown up on the wall, people could see and follow along. So I hope this really helps with some of the things that we have going on with our legislators. And Ryan's got some other stuff that he's working on, some big stuff. I don't want to go into that. I'm going to spoil it. Let him talk all about that at some point. But there's some big things that's coming up as far as what the Kennedys will be doing as far as contacting and getting with our legislators. So, and I guess, let me not forget this. How about networking with communities? Throw up that picture from this is Zwolle, Louisiana's 47th Tamale Fiesta Queen's Ball. Okay. Now, this is a really interesting picture because the man of the crown is our Sylvester Martinez. He is the camp commander of Sabine Rifles, 2057 in Zwolle. He is also the second lieutenant division commander of the state. This is a man who has networked with his community like you would not believe. He's with the he's also a member of the tribe, the Native American tribe over there. He's been an elder with them. He has with the VFW, with the Chamber of Commerce, with all the different things that go on. And this tamale festival, if anybody in Louisiana has ever heard, Zawali tamales is probably the most. It's supposed to be the best tamales in the world. Okay. And but they blow out it big for this, and for the SCV to be invited to be the honor guard, because it wasn't just them coming in as queen and king, but it was all the other pageant queens and kings from all over that area. And so for us to shine, that SCV really shined that night. I mean, once again, it's because of that influence. They would have never approached us if SEAL had not been working so hard, the SCV had not been working so hard in that area. And also the Queen, Landry Leach, she is the former last year's Battle of Pleasant Hill battle queen. So this year she got elected for the Fiesta. So she's still out there representing our Southern cause and our Southern heritage and things like that. So that was a huge night. It really was. I mean, everybody saw us. And anytime we can get the SCV out in front of people, it's a good thing. So the next thing I'm going to start talking about is upcoming things. And that's the calendar sheet. Now, let me tell you about this. This is the holy grail of events when it comes to Louisiana. If you're not on the yellow sheet, nobody knows about it. Okay. Get on the yellow sheet. And I also say anybody that wants to get on our calendar of events, just email me at louisianascv@gmail.com and I'll get you on there. This was kind of a creation of one of my members of my staff, which I call the chief of operations. He's the ward camp commander, Kevin Atkins, and he keeps up with this religiously. And it's constantly changing. I only just took a screenshot of that first page. There's about 4 pages of things, goes on to next year. But this gives everybody a chance to see what's coming up. If you got vacation days, go ahead and schedule your vacation days. So many people have a habit, well, if I put this out 2 weeks before the event, I'll have people show up. No, they won't. Okay. You've got to give people time enough to be prepared, vacation time, schedule what they need to do, stuff, things like that. So, this is, like I said, once again, anybody who wants to get on the yellow calendar, the official calendar for the division, just email me at louisianascv@gmail.com and we will get you on there. And speaking of the calendar, I'm going to talk about a couple of different events that are kind of big of note, and that is on October the 10th, we'll be having Commander-in-Chief Jason Boshears in the Northeast Brigade, and he'll be speaking at Catfish Cabin in Monroe at 6:30. What we're doing is all the camps in that brigade have suspended their normal camp meetings and are making their meetings this particular date. But this is not just for the Northeast. Anybody can come. If people want to drive over from Vicksburg and Arkansas, wherever, they're free to attend. And we more than happy welcome anybody that wants to attend this. And I think it gives a good chance for them to see Jason. I know a lot of people, they see him on Facebook, hear his name, but maybe not have never met him, and he's there and personable, and people can come up, talk to him, and I think it'll be a really nice event to get to know your commander-in-chief. The next one is on October the 28th, is a Camp Moore benefit, and that's the poster for that. That's going to be a big deal where we'll have reenactors, artillery demonstrations. They will have ride. I think the mechanized cavalry will be doing a ride as well. But all this money goes back to the museum. All this money goes back to helping Camp Moore. And those that are not familiar with Camp Moore, thing about Camp Moore is that it is the only existing Confederate training camp, and everything else pretty well out there has been wiped out or disappeared off the map. But this one's here, has a great cemetery in the back, beautiful cemetery in the back. We've got different things. And, if you're in Mississippi, come down I-55. It's straight down from Jackson. So we invite Mississippi especially, come on out, and it'll be a really good event. And speaking of Camp Moore, there'll be the main reenactment there on November the 18th and 19th. And that's a picture I just sort of threw some sepia tone on. And that's actually from the battle last year. I think they put a extra bag of powder in that little mountain house there, I think, to make that big of a shot. But it was pretty cool. And let's see. Of course, in December, we'll have various Christmas parades and things like that. But this right here, I want to talk about this picture here. This is the Monroe Mardi Gras Parade, okay, from last year. This year will be February the 8th with a lineup at 3 p.m. That's because they start closing the streets down. But it is the biggest in the state. There are anywhere between 100,000 and 200,000 people that see this, okay? There's no greater chance for the SCV to be seen publicly than this event right here. So we encourage everybody, if you live in Arkansas, Mississippi, you want to drive over from Texas, whatever you want, to come to this event. I mean, this is huge. Let's see the other picture real quick. Yeah, this is a little thing I made. But, I mean, this is awesome. When they get between the building and they start shooting all the rifles off, I mean, it literally shakes the windows. This boom. And the crowd loves this. And this is a huge opportunity for the SCV to be seen. And usually we'll have about 3 vehicles behind that with civilians that don't want to march. And so, bring your wives, bring your kids. It's a great event. Now, it's a little long. It's about, I don't forget how many miles it is. It's several miles. And it usually takes somewhere about 2 hours, 2.5 hours to get through. But it is, like I said, it's a fantastic event for the SCV to be seen. I can't say that enough. And then the next thing is when we talk about, oh, wait a minute. Let me go to Darbone Landing, March 9th and 10th. Okay. This is going to be kind of the north part of the state around Farmerville. Is sponsored by the SCV Ward Camp. And this should be a good one as well. And we're really pushing that this year. So any guys that are interested, you can email me at louisianascv@gmail.com, and I'll get you some more information. But this will be a good little event as well. And we've got people that just love seeing us and have been asking for us to come back and do this for a long time. So we decided to finally do this. Then we've got I'll talk about the next year in January. Will also mark the 125th Louisiana Division anniversary, as well as the Red River Campaign's 160th anniversary. And I think I got a little logo or something I sent you. Yeah, there we go. All right. So this is kind of like a teaser of some of the stuff that'll be coming out. This is the logo that we'll be using to mark the 125th for Louisiana and the 160th Red River Campaign. For those that may say, oh, that motto for Louisiana is wrong, it should be Union, Justice, Confidence. Well, the Confederates said, no, it's Justice, Union, Confidence. Okay. It was changed. It was a Reconstruction change later. They wanted to, we got to put Union first. So it changed. But anyway, this will be something big. And this is also going to mark, I know that Jason Moshears wanted each army to come up with a national event. So we're having one April the 6th. Will be an Army of Trans-Mississippi national event at Mansfield State Park. Haven't got a lot of details ready to put out yet, but it'll be a national deal. And we'll have speakers. We'll have other stuff going on. And like I said, this will mark, this will coincide with the 160th Red River campaign as well. And okay, let's see. How am I on time?
Looking good, Commander.
Okay. All right. Now, I'm kind of do a little plug here. One of the things talking about going outside the box, you have to you have to think in different ways out of the box. And I can't tell you what to do in your state or your whatever, because I don't live there. But there are always things to be looking at. What can we do things a little differently? And, some of us have had a hard time sort of getting into places because the first thing you say is Confederate. They cringe, or they see that rebel flag and they start cringing. So we've come up, me and some guys here in the North Louisiana have come up with something we call the Louisiana Bushwhackers. Okay. And what this is that it's a way to have what I call an interactive living history or interactive recruitment booth. Why just sit there behind a booth and give out pamphlets when you can be shooting each other and get the crowd going at the same time? So this is kind of where this is going. And for some of the Missouri people out there that may watch this, some people used to ask me, said, "What are you talking about bushwhackers? That's Missouri." Well, the thing about it is that after Lawrence, Kansas, Quantrill headed to Texas, and he got asked by the governor of Louisiana, "Hey, we got so many bad things, atrocities and war crimes happening in North Louisiana. I need people like you to stop this." Well, Quantrill said, "No, I'm going to Texas." Well, when he got over to Texas, Quantrill and Anderson had a little row. But one of the men with Quantrill was a guy named John Jarrett. He had kinfolk in East Carroll Parish. And he asked his little bunch that have been real tight together. I'm talking about the famous ones, Jesse James, Frank James, okay, and all these, let's go back and talk to the governor of Louisiana about this. And so they did. So they decided to do this for the governor. They elected a guy by the name of Captain Joseph Callaway Lee. And he led these bushwhackers, so to speak, against all the atrocities that the Yankees were doing between Lake Providence and Vicksburg and down to Tensall Parish. And, they also ended up fighting in the Battle of Pleasant Hill and Mansfield. And it's interesting that Kirby Smith, when he was told by the governor he was bringing these guys in here, he said, "Oh, no. We're not having this bunch of people in my army." Okay. So the governor decided to put them under the scout. Wait a minute, get tongue tied. The State Scout Service, but he needed scouts but Kirby Smith needed scouts for the Red River campaign. So he reluctantly got them, but he was so impressed that at the end of the campaign and pushing back the Yankees, he promoted Lee to colonel and everything. So. And so what we do is we sort of do a deal where, we kind of recreate some of this, and we focus on the home front. We talk about these atrocities, but until you see it played out, do you get a grasp of what it was like? I'm going to the store and you get back and your house is burned to the ground, or somebody's either done horrible things to your family and different things like this. And I always tell people that you go back and look at some of these main bushwhackers, every one of them had something bad happen to them to force them into that position. Captain Lee, who led these Louisiana bushwhackers, I mean, him and his brother were off in Colorado. They come back home, their house is burned down, their dad, they're all dead. They get captured by redlegs and are going to be shot and executed. And luckily that one guy of the redlegs knew them as a kid and told them, "Look, when I tell you to run, you run and never look back." And they did, and they ended up joining up with Quantrill. But everybody had a reason for doing this. And just to throw this in the mix, I mean, Lee, he's I tell this all the time when I give a speech about him. I say, he's the only Civil War veteran that has a direct contact with green UFO aliens and all this stuff. And everybody's like, "What?" I go, "Yeah, because he ended up founding the town of Roswell, New Mexico. And also the New Mexico Military Institute over there as well." So he kind of went a different route than a lot of the guys. A lot of guys couldn't get away from the bushwhacking elements and ended up kind of the outlaw thing that you see. But he kind of went a different path. He told Joe Shelby had asked him, said, "Hey, come to Mexico with me." And he said, "No, I'm done with, all this." And basically hung up his guns. However, he traded his pistols in for a Winchester repeater when he went out west. And he even had a run with Billy the Kid. So Billy the Kid, don't bring all your mess up in my town. I'll fill you all my Winchester full of holes, with full of holes. And Billy respected him, and that had to do with that reputation being with Quantrill, But I mean, it's really cool that to dig up history that's kind of been forgotten about, that you don't read in the history book. I find that as great as Lee and Jackson and everybody were, we've kind of heard the main stories about them, a long time, but to find these little nuggets is really cool. And so we kind of reenact that. Can you put that picture of the Bushwhackers up for just a second? Okay. This is just some of the stag thing. I want to give a shout out to Mark Anderson, who took some of these photos. This was actually done at the Dog Trot House at Pleasant Hill. But it's like I said, it's just, we kind of dressed in that kind of partisan style deal. And we end up, they, we'll act out different scenarios depending on the situation. I mean, whether it's just, I see somebody mentioned the comments like Ride with the Devil. We're planning on in October doing a scene of Ride with the Devil where they're at the little, what's it called? The ferry. And guys come in, you got Yankees already there, and you got these bushwhackers dressed up in the blue coats, and they're just in disguise so they can ambush them. But we're going to do some other ones that's kind of serious with the husband and wife. He comes in for furlough for the night. He's got to head back to Shreveport. Jayhawkers kill him, and the wife takes revenge. That's a good one. And some stuff like that. We'll have another one where it'll be a neighbor's checking on their neighbor. A neighbor will be checking on another neighbor, and they'll find out that they've joined the Bluecoats, and that'll be a sense of contention, and stuff. But this is really a way to, and I'm bringing all this up because this is a way to reach people on a different level. Let them see something different. Let them see something more personal. Because I don't think we really get how bad it was. I mean, people. Just coming down your street, you never knew if you heard horses whether they're going to come in there and steal everything you got. I mean, I'm reading a book, really good book, The Diary of Kate Stone. She lived over here in East Louisiana, and they wanted a horse, so they took out the pistol, put a gun to her head. So if you're a horse, I'm going to blow your brains out. Okay. I mean, these are the kind of stories I'm talking about, that of the travesties that happened to the Southern people and the Southern civilians, that they were just, well, everybody's all fighting the war, they're basically defenseless. And so they take advantage of this. And I just have to say this, the Union Army was full of nothing but war criminals and thieves and liars and everything else. I just said it, okay? And it's true, okay? I mean, if you don't believe me, I can show you tons of diary recounts where they just talk about one boy, okay, the Yankees, I was reading a letter, and the Yankees say, oh, we shot and killed this captain, the other night. There's some of the mounted Marines that came on shore from the Mississippi River. Well, that's great. They killed a captain. But then you read the diary of the mother that talks about their son, who was a private, home on furlough, was called out of the house. He decided to surrender, no weapons, nothing on him. And they just sat there and basically pistol whipped him to death. Okay? This is the things we have to remember when tyranny goes too far. It's one thing to keep us subjugated by, laws and different things like that, but actually start coming to your house and just take what you want. I take your house, I take all the food in your house. I don't care what you do, and it's just that's what people need to be fired up about, that this is a reason why our truth, our history, our story must always be told, that at the heart of it, we were fighting for our lives and our very existence. And we find ourselves in the same similar situation today. I kind of coined the term, I always say all the time, the second war of Reconstruction, but it is. We're fighting the same things where flags were considered outlaw, uniforms considered outlaw. And if we do not continue to keep up the steps that we're taking, we will revisit those same days. So sorry for the down turn I did there, but on a happy note, let me tell you this. Louisiana is out there, has got more events than we've ever had before. We're reaching more people than we've had before. And it has to do with the fact that we got a lot of great people in this state. You know, I'm just the coordinator. Okay. You can call me division, you can call me commander, you can call me whatever title you want to. I'm just the coordinator. That's all I am. I got a team here, and it takes every person on this team. One person can't do it. I've got some great brigade commanders. I've got, great camp commanders. And, I've got a database, I guess you'd say a living database with people like having 2 past commanders and chiefs, that are never afraid to tell me when I'm doing something wrong, by the way. but that knowledge and that experience goes a long way, and you can learn a lot from it, And like I said, we've seen a big uptick, especially since COVID. We've seen a huge uptick in the events and the stuff we do. I mean, sometimes we're doing events on the same day, but the west side of the state takes care of one, the east side takes care of another. So it's been really good, and I can say that I am proud to be a member of this state. I'm proud of the people in it, because we couldn't do it without the people. I mean, the people is what makes it happen, and like I said, I am just the coordinator. That's all I do. Okay. So that's about all I've got. I may have ran a little long. I'm sorry that did.
Great job, Commander.
Anyway, but I appreciate you letting me on here and talking and inviting me and everything. And I hope everybody wasn't bored out there. But anyway, that's the story of Louisiana as of 9/21/2023.
Well, I want to thank Louisiana Division Commander for coming on, sir. It's always a great time to have you, and I always am interested in what the Louisiana Division is doing. Y'all are a great division, and it's an honor to fight this Cold War with you for our heritage. And can't wait to hear when you come on next time. Real quick, we did have a question in the chat. So how Look Around is structured on a monthly basis, because someone asked this question, and I'll explain what happened. First week in the month, included Thursday, is Commander's Comments. The Commander-in-Chief himself, Jason Boshears, and Chief of Heritage Operations, Mr. Ron Kendi, will come on and present the show Commander's Comments, which is technically not Look Around. Next Thursday, the second week of the month, you will have the Army of Tennessee come on to give a update on the Army of Tennessee. Our division commander will come on and give an update on their division that's in the Army of Tennessee. Third week out of the month, you get the Army of Trans-Mississippi. And like we did tonight, the Army didn't come on, but the division commander of a division in that Army came on, like our lovely Louisiana division commander here. And next week, we have the Army of Northern Virginia. And I do believe the Army of Northern Virginia commander and councilman are going to come on next week and give an update on the Army. But someone asked that question. So what happened was last month when I was on with the Army of Northern Virginia, I got my week swapped and switched them with the Army of Trans-Mississippi. So I had a couple people on here from the Army of Northern Virginia ask me, hey, I thought this was our week. That's on me. When I was on the phone with your councilman last week and your commander, this is not on them. This is on me. I gave them the Army of Tennessee's Army of Trans-Mississippi's Thursday and not their Thursday. So I hope that clears things up. Come on next Thursday, and you'll have the Army of Northern Virginia update. So I hope that clears everything up. Mr. Tony and Mr. Terry asked me, that was a scheduling conflict on my part. And, I talked to your commander and your councilman earlier on in the week, and I told them. For any scheduling updates, you can check the last 5 minutes of SCV Chat on Mondays, our Facebook page. I can start trying to put it on the website as well. It's something I've been meaning to do anyway. So scvchat.com for all SCV Chat programming, just to clarify it. So without further ado, we're going to be kind of going into the end of the show. We ask that everybody make sure to share this out and tune into SCV Chat Monday at 7 p.m. Confederate Standard Time. We also ask to make sure that you send your pictures, short videos, and write-ups to scvyouthoutreach@gmail.com, and you'll be featured on the upcoming episode of Look Around the Confederation. And I guess without further ado, gentlemen, it is time to sign off, and I cannot wait to see y'all Monday and next Thursday. We have a great show for y'all next Monday. We will have Adam Southern, our executive director of the SCV, come on to give a Hearth and Home episode on your museum, telling you about either some new stuff there or spotlighting an artifact, and of course events that our national headquarters puts on. And then of course Thursday we will have the Army of Northern Virginia Commander and Councilman on, Kenny Ramsey and Kevin Stone, on to talk about the Army of Northern Virginia. All right, well, I guess there's nothing more to say than remember, everybody, to share and stay Southern, my friends. Good night.